start the meeting now. Can you folks hear us? Can you folks hear us?
I can barely hear you.
Ginger, are we muted?
Let me check.
Because my bell was playing with it, and I don't trust what my bell does.
I do.
Thank you.
Nothing like speaking. Hey.
It says we're not.
We were hitting *6, but it wasn't, we didn't hear it.
Yeah. Can you hear Jack? Say testing 1, 2, 3 or something. Talk in the
Well, we
phone.
heard Ryan come in.
This is Jack. Can you guys hear us?
You must.
Ryan, I know you're on. Ryan, you can hear us?
This is Dale. I can hear you.
Okay,
good.
that's what we
Okay,
needed
good.
to know. Thank you, Val.
How many people are on?
20.
20?
Val, do you want to do roll call?
Yes, sir.
$32. Now.
Okay, Janice, is that good? Okay. Acadia,
Yes.
present.
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 Acadia 2,
Absent.
Andover A,
Present.
Andover B,
Absent.
Andover C,
Present.
Andover D,
Absent.
Andover C,
Wait.
Andover D, absent, you said right?
Absent, yeah.
Andover E,
Absent.
Andover F,
Present.
Andover G,
Absent.
Andover H,
Present.
Andover I,
Present.
Bedford A,
Present.
Bedford B,
Absent.
Bedford C,
Present.
Bedford D,
Absent.
Bedford E,
Absent.
Bedford F,
Absent.
Bedford G,
Present.
Bedford H,
Present.
Bedford J,
Absent. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Present. Look like an I.
Brookfield,
Present.
Cambridge A,
Present.
Cambridge B,
Absent.
Cambridge C,
Present.
Cambridge E,
Absent.
Cambridge F,
Absent.
Cambridge H,
Absent.
Cambridge I,
Absent.
Cambridge J,
Absent.
Cambridge K,
Absent.
Cambridge L,
Absent.
Cambridge M,
Present.
Candidate Court D,
Absent.
Corinth,
Present.
Devonshire,
Present.
Dorchester A,
Present.
Dorchester B,
Present.
Dorchester C,
Present.
Dorchester D,
Present.
Edinburgh,
Present.
Fairborn,
Present.
Fairfield A,
Present.
Fairfield B,
Present.
Fairfield C,
Present.
Fairfield D,
Absent.
Fairfield E,
Present.
Fairfield F,
Absent.
Fairfield G,
Absent.
Fairfield H,
Absent.
Gloucester A,
Present.
Gloucester B,
Absent.
Present.
But I don't have a,
he didn't submit the cross.
He's in person.
He's in person. Gloucester C,
Absent.
Gloucester D,
Present.
Gloucester E,
Absent.
Gloucester F,
Present.
Gloucester G,
Absent.
Gloucester H,
Absent.
Gloucester J,
Absent.
Gloucester K,
Present.
Gloucester L,
Present.
Gloucester M,
Present.
Gloucester N,
Absent.
Gloucester P,
Present.
Grantham,
Present.
Highgate A,
Absent.
Highgate B,
Present.
Highgate C,
Absent.
Highgate C is absent. I have one here.
I have D, and then I go to D. Oh, nope.
I misplaced it, no, okay.
That's Jill again.
Jill is Highgate B.
Clays,
Jill Place, right?
Highgate C.
Highgate C, okay.
She turned, remember last time she turned?
Yeah, we will double check, I'll make sure, because I have one here. Highgate D,
Present.
Highgate E,
Present.
Highgate F,
Absent.
Highgate 2,
Present.
Highgate 3,
Present.
Highgate 4,
Present.
Huntington,
Present.
Idlewood,
Absent.
Inverness,
Absent.
Jameson,
Present.
Kensington,
Absent.
Knowles 1,
Absent.
Knowles 2,
Absent.
Knowles 3,
Absent.
Lancaster 1,
Present.
Lancaster 2,
Present.
Lancaster 3,
Present.
Lancaster 4,
Present.
Lyndhurst,
Absent.
Manchester 1,
Absent.
Manchester 2,
Present.
Manchester 3,
Present.
Manchester 4,
Present.
Maplewood,
Present.
Nantucket 1,
Absent.
Nantucket 2,
Present.
Nantucket 3,
Absent.
Nantucket 4,
Absent.
Nantucket 5,
Absent.
Oakley Green,
Absent.
Oxford 1,
Absent.
Oxford 2,
Present.
Portsmouth,
Present.
Princeton,
Absent.
Quail Pass,
Absent.
Radisson 1,
Absent.
Radisson 2,
Present.
Richmond,
Present.
Somerset,
Absent.
Southampton 1,
Absent.
Southampton 2,
Present.
Tremont 1,
Present.
Tremont 2,
Present.
Villeroy,
Present.
Worlington,
Present.
Yorkshire.
Absent.
Mr. President, you have a quorum of 58% with 3,203 units and 62 associations.
Thank you, Ma Bell, and I'd like to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our first item on the agenda is the management reports, and I will turn it over to Keith Booking, our first service, to do his first.
Wait, aren't we approving the minutes?
Oh, thank you, Janice. That's why we have you here. I'm sorry, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 20th meeting. Yes, Rick?
Make a motion that be approved. Second.
No,
No, there's a
we have
proxy.
to do the proxy.
Hold on, let me just fix the other one.
Mabel, do you know what the vote is?
Yes, sir, but let me just fix because I have Rick Massime a while ago.
Yeah, all you do is that. Rick, how are you voting? Yes?
Okay. Yes, sir, we got 100%.
100% are
Yes, sir.
voting yes. So the motion to approve the November 20th draft minutes meetings are approved. Now we will go to the management reports. Thank you, Janice.
Good morning, everybody. Some good music there. This is the first service management report for the January 22nd membership meeting. Just again, our lobby and our office is open, and we're still asking everybody to try to utilize our drops in the parking lot as much as possible, especially for monthly payments. If you guys could keep using that, that's checked regularly, and it's been a good method to keep the volume in the office down. Couple quick notes on the administration side for the front office. For the month of December, we completed 55 transfers to new sales, and we did 57 leases. Total phone calls taken for the month was 3,500. We had about 1,200 walk-ins. We've updated 347 emergency contact forms, so keep getting those in. It's the best way to keep your information up to date. We completed 90 alteration forms for all the associations, and we drew up 13 new contracts. Again, you're in the midst of the annual meetings season. I believe the last ones run through the second week of February, I think February 11th, roughly. So if you haven't had your meeting yet, please touch base with your association about getting your proxies in, and that just helps limit the size of those meetings as well, the more proxies you can get in ahead of time. Insurance quickly, the two gentlemen from USI, the agents, Brian and Adam, did a nice job holding the 2 insurance town halls back on January 14th. I've had good reviews from everybody on that, and it was a lot of good information, so something that if we need to hold more of those, we will and we should. So, jumping down to landscaping, again, the contracts for section 2 and 4 are being in the final process of being reviewed by the contracts committee and the board, and we'll have some updates on that in the coming months. As well as the next OLM inspections for all the properties happens next week on January 25th, 26th, and 27th. And again, we are working to finalize and update and revise palm and hardwood trimming contract, and that's moving along nicely. Work orders for the month of December totaled 18. So again, if you have any issues landscaping wise, please submit those work orders. We'll get them to Ryan, we'll check it out and get them knocked out for you. And lastly, again, we have 89 associations out of 113 on the Avid Exchange accounts payable program, and we'll be asking each of those board members to add new members or sign up for the first time, trying to get more people on using that system. And that's all I had today. Any questions? Thank you, everybody.
If there are no questions to first service report, I'll turn the meeting over to Vesta for their monthly report.
There's 35 on the phone. 35. Good morning to the membership and to the board. We have in clubhouse usage for December, over 20,000 visitors to the amenities, with 43% of those at the South Club. With fitness center usage, we had over 4,500 visits to the fitness program, with 30% of those at the South Club. In spa and salon usage, we served 417 clients with 716 services performed, always a popular month during the holidays. In food and beverage, dine-in, and portico pickup for December, we served 5,086 patrons. On the projects update, we have the South Club pool expansion project. The RFP process has begun and several contractors have been contacted. We are making plans for a site survey as well as the development of architectural plans. The goal is to provide the Federation Board with proposals, contract proposals for review prior to their March 5th board meeting. The South Club men's and ladies locker room refurbishment program is underway. The floor tile has been installed and plumbing repairs completed. Currently, we are awaiting county inspections in order to move forward and install porcelain fixtures and close up the walls. In the meantime, we're still working on completing the painting, installing new countertops, partitions, ceiling tiles, and the lockers. The county has advised that they are backed up, and it may take a few weeks for the inspector to get out here on site. And we are kind of on hold with some of the project until he gets here, but we are looking for that to hopefully possibly be completed by, I don't even want to guess, but in February. February is a long month. King Point Clubhouse outdoor pool deck resurfacing project has been completed. We haven't had a lot of people out there because of the weather, but we've gotten rave reviews about the appearance out at the main club's pool deck. The moisture inspection project, this was a special board approved process. Suncoast Inspections has been out and also had a second investigative visit by a specialist who was looking at the HVAC system and their ductwork, trying to find the sources of water in the clubhouses that we've had some problems with. Hopefully we'll get that report back in the next, I'm just saying, couple of weeks, because all the vendors seem to be backed up. COVID affects every bit of our operations, including the vendors. 1904 erosion project. This special board approved project began on January 18th, estimated to be completed by January 27th, weather permitting. No doubt Keith and company can sleep better at night knowing their building isn't going to fall apart.
Collapse into the water.
It wasn't that bad.
We were thinking
I'm
of
kidding.
moving Keith's office over to that
Over to the
corner,
corner.
so if it's going in, Keith's going in first.
Maybe give them a pontoon boat?
Life jacket.
That's right. You either laugh about this or you cry, right? In tram, we had over 2,300 miles during the month of December traveled with the fleet, with a total ridership of just shy of 1,600. And in security operations, we took in just shy of 12,000 calls for the month, which is the highest call volume on Christmas Eve with 543 calls. During the month of December, we had 5,271 card swipes at the golf cart gate, averaging 170 golf cart entries per day. Okay, now let me move on to the more important part of our operation in today's world, which is our COVID operations. Vesta continues to monitor COVID cases and the evolving recommendations by the CDC and various agencies. Due to recent increases in cases nationwide, no new activities or special events have been planned by the team at this time. With the increases of cases in the county, it's not surprising we are seeing more reported cases of COVID locally. Vesta had been notified of various residents who had tested positive for COVID and had frequented the trust amenities or participated in club activities. This resulted in contact tracing and notifying numerous Kings Point residents, and we also sent out a community-wide e-blast. And when we feel it is warranted, we may do so again. The amenity areas continue to be cleaned, air filters changed, disinfectant bombs deployed at night when necessary or applicable. All efforts are made to contact trace the folks who may have been in direct contact or in the area during the times that these positive cases had used the amenities. However, we would like all our residents to understand we're trying to be as transparent and as communicative as possible. But while the last few weeks have brought people who have tested positive for COVID to come forward and notify us, we also have been on the receiving end of numerous emails, anonymous calls, rumors, and hearsay. So-and-so may have COVID, or I heard that so-and-so's neighbor might have COVID. You know, you can imagine with as many people we have in our community how that type of information can spread. Please understand that the staff cannot act on anonymous tips, rumors, or hearsay. If there is a valid positive case that has been in direct contact with users of the amenities, please notify a VESTA supervisor or a department manager. We have protocols and documentation in place that we have to follow, and we can't go on anonymous tips. We only have so many resources, and we will do our best, but we have to operate on factual information. So if you or a family member test positive and you have been in the amenities, and you choose to do so, you can notify a VESTA supervisor or contact Matthew Vermouth with the dates and times you checked into the amenities, and we will do our best to take it from there. And as though life isn't complicated enough, as we go through this process, we have found numerous cases of wrong information in our database. So it's hard to contact folks when we don't have your correct phone numbers. You will notice there's a request for residents to email or call in correct names and phone numbers. Look for that e-blast, and I believe, Matt, you will be sending that out periodically, correct?
Correct.
As a reminder. So as cases continue to escalate, these situations continue to occur, we will be making adjustments to various operations as warranted. In fact, this morning just brought in some new information we're dealing with. Most notably, the team is working on pivoting at the Palm Court to focus on outdoor dining and curbside pickup over the next few weeks or potentially months as the cases continue to escalate. As we work on getting our plan finalized and making those adjustments, please watch for notices each day as it's quite fluid here, and we try to notify the board as quickly as possible, but every day brings new cases and adjustments are warranted. When we make the determination that we may need to potentially shorten hours, close a department, or limit service based on the situation or staffing capabilities, this is only done out of an overabundance of caution and working with the best information we have at the time. Finally, we have been actively engaged in seeking out various groups to host the vaccine program within Kings Point. Thank you also to Keith and First Services for their input and assistance and contacts. It takes a village, and if and when we get the opportunity and the privilege to offer a vaccine program here within Kings Point, the moment we know about it, you will know about it. So Matt and Keith and all the teams involved in that, thank you, and we'll keep trying. As always, please heed all the CDC's precautions and your own physical conditions. Keep in mind when you venture out. Thank you.
And I only have one question to ask you. If you are notified by a resident that they have COVID, or you find out, you are not at liberty to disclose that name. Is that correct? So could you just reiterate that if people are looking for, well, who has COVID or who had COVID,
Sure.
you are not at liberty to discuss that
Sure.
with them?
Just briefly, in our first go-round, and again, hats off to Matt and his team, you know, with the numerous hours and dedication to try and contact as many, and Denny's here as well, she's on the call team as well. You do get a lot of questions back, you know, what was it, where were they sitting, what time were they there, what were they doing, etc. We don't have all that information. We can tell you when they came in the building, but we don't know where they walked or who they are, and we certainly can't use their name or tell you who they were sitting with. So it's a big picture of just be aware that somebody was in the vicinity when you were there, and then conduct yourselves accordingly. We also e-blast out when the South Bay Hospital, I think today, right, is from 9 to 12, is also doing rapid testing if you have any concerns or don't feel well. But again, folks, it's all of us are in this together. We're doing the best we can, but we really would just request factual information and only when you're absolutely sure you or yourself or your family member has it.
Thank you. Any questions of Ginger? Hearing none, we'll go to committee reports. And I will start with Noreen. Do you have anything?
No, you do not.
Dave?
Nothing to report.
Dan?
The contracts committee has
Can you go move up here so the unfortunate people who have to call in due to COVID can hear us?
the contracts committee is in possession of section 2 and section 4 down to earth landscape contracts that we're reviewing for changes and extension of 1 year. Hopefully that will go to the board next week. And we are also reviewing the web services contract, and hopefully that will be going to the board next week as well. And that's all I have.
Alan, do you have a committee report?
I do have the report on the sublease Falcon Watch Committee report. And I'll read it to you. Previous boards agreed that the master would lease Falcon Watch Clubhouse from ClubLink and sublease it to the Land Trust. The Land Trust tried to operate a cyber cafe only to realize it was not profitable, losing over $80,000 a year. To stop that financial loss, the Federation closed the cafe portion, saving over $30,000 a year, mainly in salaries and food costs. The cyber cafe continues to operate solely for the computers at a cost of over $48,000 a year. That includes monthly costs of $2,093 for the sublease and almost an additional $2,000 in utilities, upkeep, and operating costs. In the Federation opinion, the best use of the Falcon Watch Clubhouse is to house the Master Association operations, being centrally located, enough inside space for their operations, and plenty of outside parking lot space. But the Master Board refused. Another opportunity came up in September. Matt Perbuth, best employee for the Land Trust, approached President Jim Argiro of the Master Association about Salus Physical Therapy renting Falcon Watch. Jim was excited about it and brought it back to the Master. Then October 7th, the Federation and Master met about several issues. At that meeting, the Federation requested that the Master agree to be open to Salus subleasing the Falcon Watch to provide physical therapy services to Kings Point residents only. The Master refused and stated their position that no outside company would ever rent any space in Kings Point, and this in spite of the fact that a private corporation, KPW, is housed within Kings Point. The Federation mentioned at that meeting that Kings Point residents may feel different and we would survey them. So from November 20th to December 4th, the Federation sent out a survey to Kings Point residents about renting out the Falcon Watch building. The results were overwhelming. Responses were received from 1,203 Kings Point residents and owners. The questions and results are listed below, and let me read them. The first question was, should the Federation pursue an opportunity that could reduce or eliminate the present expenses to lease and maintain Falcon Watch? 92% said yes. Second question, should Falcon Watch be rented to an outside business when such a business is solely for the use of Kings Point residents and owners? 87% said yes. Third question, do you favor having a company such as Salus provide service to the residents, owners of Kings Point? 85% said yes. Fourth question, should your management company and the master work with Salus to lease Falcon Watch to make senior therapy services available to Kings Point residents? 84% said yes. Then on December 15th, Alan Hahn called Jim Margero about setting up a meeting with the boards, with the Federation Master Boards, to discuss the survey results. On December 30th, Jim sent the following email back to Alan. And he said, thank you for your patience. The Master Association intends to add the survey, as well as the Federation's desire to schedule a meeting, to the agenda during an upcoming Master Association workshop. At that time, the Master Association will discuss the survey results and consider appointing representatives from our board to meet with representatives of your board. It is important for the Master Association to ensure that we follow Florida law and the existing documents in connection with any such decision. On January 17th, Alan and Jim spoke for a 24-minute phone conversation, and I'm summarizing it below. First, Jim said, the Master Board will not meet, that he and I will be the only ones meeting together. He said the Master has no intention of leasing Falcon Watch. It is not right, Jim said. He said his board even told him, don't bother to call Alan back because we don't want to lease the building. He complained about everything that was said on Nextdoor and accused the Federation of not telling the facts straight. He claimed our statement about the $48,000 cost is not true. He said if we don't want the building, then we should just give it back to the Master. He said the statement about only Kings Point residents could use Salus is not true. He said the Federation proved to the community it is not true when they opened the beauty shop to outside. And Jim said the same thing will happen to Salus. That's even though Salus has agreed to formally document that Kings Point only limit would be in their lease. Jim also said poo-poo to the survey. He said only 1,203 residents, so it didn't represent what all the residents of Kings Point really want. And that's even though it's actually a very statistically valid representation. He also said the survey has such leading questions that were worded so that people would have to answer yes. Jim questioned why we didn't bring this to the Master before this. I reminded him we did, twice. First, Matt brought it to him, and the Master and Federation discussed it at their October meeting. At the October meeting, Jim Haggerty gave a blanket refusal that Falcon Watch would never get leased to an outside agency. And this is even though KPW, an outside independent corporation, is running its business inside Kings Point. After Haggerty's response, we asked how the residents would feel about it, hence the survey. Jim asked why we were so worried about all the money the Federation was losing and stated that the Federation should just get out of the lease and give it back to the Master. So, the Federation discussed it, and after discussion, the Federation decided to request that the Master release the land trust from the sublease effective February 28th. And therefore, I'll be sending a letter to the Master today, actually, requesting the release. And that's my report. Any questions from the board or from anyone in the audience?
Well, if we release the lease to the Master, they will still incur expenses for running that building. Is that not correct?
Well, the Master would have still their expenses to lease and do whatever they want to do with the building, correct?
But ultimately, it's still the people that are paying for the expenses,
It's still
and not saving any money by doing anything with it.
correct, but since our hands have been tied, we can't do anything with it either. We don't want to keep it empty, so if the master has different ideas, then let them decide how they want to use it.
Okay,
And
thank you.
should the master give us the release, we would be moving the computers and all of that operation back to one of the clubhouses.
Be the North Club.
That's correct, and most likely the North Clubhouse will receive all the computers again. So there'll be a room set up with all the computers for Kings Point residents to use in the North Clubhouse, correct?
And is that a relatively easy move?
Yes, I think it is. Most everything's out of there, besides the computers. Maybe it's a few more items in the cafeteria that belong to the land trust, but yes, it should be a very easy move. Probably a couple of weeks, they'll have everything moved out,
Or less.
or less.
I think we were told that the computers could be removed within 24 hours. It might take them a little while longer to set them back up again. But
Right,
I would think a week or so, we should be back in operation.
right, right.
And I just want to reiterate, the lease is not with the Federation. The lease is with the land trust, and we pay additional monies to Vesta to manage that lease of the building, which if they no longer were managing that building, in addition to the land trust properties, we would also see a reduction there because Vesta, as the management of our amenities, we would remove from that management the lease that is currently existent by the land trust from the Vesta agreement we have.
So that's not really in Alan's dollar numbers?
That is, yes, that is part of the, I mentioned that we're paying, of course, the lease, over $2,000 a month for the lease, and we're paying an additional about $2,000 a month for other costs, utilities, upkeep, operating costs. That includes the amount that's being paid to Vesta to manage it, as well as electric, waste removal, internet, just various other costs that are involved.
Ginger, could you come forward for a minute, because I have a question to ask you. Because I don't know the answer to this. As a part of the management company, you basically insure all of the land trust property.
Yes, it's
Do you
included in
carry
the policy.
insurance on Falcon Watch?
We do,
So
liability insurance.
So if we were to, or the land trust was to be released from that lease,
They added it in with our liability policy.
Yeah,
We
but-
didn't pay a bump up on it. It's not gonna be a
it's
very
it's not a
big-
huge
no.
amount, but we would eliminate that from the liability to the land trust.
Right.
I just wanted to validate that one particular thing.
There's just various operating costs all the way around.
Thank you, Alan. Does anyone on the phone have any questions? Then Rick, do you have any committee report?
No, I'd just like to state that, like Dan mentioned, that we're in the final stages of the new website, and I just want to tell the people publicly on the committee, I appreciate all the work they've done because it's been a long, arduous process. Thank you. The Community Promotion Committee has performed well in the last year, and I think they deserve kudos.
Okay. Ryan, if you star 6, it will unmute your phone. Because I know Ryan had a comment he wanted to make, and he wanted to know if we could unmute his phone. Ryan, you have to unmute it at star 6. Correct, Ginger?
Yeah.
Is there any way Because I don't know if Ryan's having a problem unmuting his phone as we did last week.
I don't know that he knows who Ryan's number is out of all the 35 people here.
Can you put him on the phone in front of a microphone?
Maybe text him and ask him if he's still on the call. Here, let me-
Ryan is saying it is not responding to *6. Could we unmute all the lines?
Please unmute all the calls. That happened to us one time, remember?
I know. Ryan, we're attempting to unmute all the lines. Make sure your phone itself is not muted.
He says he's trying. He says he can hang up and call in again, probably.
It's also not working for another person, cannot *6 to unmute.
Ask Ryan to call back in again. Or can he just,
If someone wanted to make a comment because it seems the unmuting of the line is becoming a problem, would you hang up and call back in? And then you would not be muted? And we will be more than glad to
Oh, he
wait while
says-
you do that.
he doesn't have the ability to unmute, he can only.
For
mute.
some reason, nobody
Yeah.
can unmute their lines.
Can Ryan call you?
Well, he should be able to hang up and call back in, and he would be unmuted. Because you have nobody on mute, correct, from your IT department?
No, he says he doesn't have the ability to unmute all, he can only mute all on his system. What he says.
We'll have him try to call him.
Hello, Jack?
Yep,
There we
Ryan,
go.
good.
Jack, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
All right, very good. Do I have the floor or no?
You have the floor.
Thanks, sir. Just want to make two comments. First of all, I'd like to agree. Alan, was excellent report. Thank you. Very detailed. We appreciate that. Two things that were mentioned in there that I think need to be pointed out and everybody needs to understand. While I don't believe anybody wants a rush of the outside world coming into our property, that's never happened with the salon at all. And there's been a huge amount of offset income generated without the loss of essentially one seat or one scheduling moment within the salon itself. So we've already proven that when you open up our amenities, if they are opened up at all, it doesn't really cause a problem. Vesta manages it really well, and all it does is provide us offset. So all the people that moan and complain and cry about being on fixed incomes, which is true and it hurts, I get it. They get an offset of that money and it reduces our cost. So it's a wise idea to do it intelligently and effectively. Secondly, Alan did point out correctly that KPW is a private for-profit, essentially, organization because they don't share any of that with KP. It's a great program. I have it for all of my properties and highly recommend it. But they are an outside entity for all intents and purposes, working within our guidelines under the administrative look of a not-for-profit. We understand that. It's okay. I like the program. But I think there's other places in this community where that would fit, and it would offset dollars and cents that come out of each one of our pockets intelligently and properly. So that's all it's like that.
Thank you, Ryan. Does anybody else have any comments?
Yeah, this is Tom Ricketts,
Yes, Tom.
L3E president.
Yes, Tom.
I just, I see this as an opportunity to really reduce overall costs for the residents of Kings Point. It doesn't matter whether it comes out of the Federation pocket or if it comes out or if it comes out of the master pocket, it's still the residents that are paying the bills. And there's an opportunity here to help us reduce some of our costs. And it also has a benefit to the community where we can have, right here close by, Gold Card away, the opportunity for physical therapy.
The Federation Board agrees with you, Tom, and that is why Alan, on behalf of the Land Trust, went to the Federation Board, excuse me, to the Master Board, and talked to the Master Board about it. That is why Alan and Noreen Ricketts took it upon themselves to put together a survey so we could understand what the residents wanted. Quite obviously, the Land Trust nor the Federation can force the master to release the Land Trust from that lease. We would only hope they would, and we would hope that they would sit down with Salis and have a conversation with Salis. The reason it was originally taken to Jim Agiro by Matt Permuth is that Matt Permuth basically works for Vesta, who oversees that particular piece of property because it is a lease by the Land Trust. So the Federation basically is just trying to bring some improvement and benefit to the community and has attempted to work on behalf of the Land Trust that we are a part of in overseeing to reduce the Land Trust cost and also benefit the community.
And let me add also, again, the reason we wanted to start this by meeting with the master board because the master has the lease with Club Link. The master and Club Link would both have to work together because Salis wants to come in and put $100,000 into that building to make it so it'll work for them. If they do that, the current lease and Club Link would have to agree to all of this. That's why that's the beginning is just to start at the meeting to discuss these opportunities. We haven't even we weren't even allowed to even start that process. But that's why it would be up to the master and Club Link would have to agree to have this all done if it were to happen.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Then Rick, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. Janice, you have anything? Then I will turn to Alan to do his treasury report. You're the star of the meeting today, Alan.
How about that? Okay. All right, treasurer's report. For up to the third quarter ending December 31st, so from April 1st to December 31st, the current assets of the Federation is $69,292. Total restricted funds assets of $462,836, for total assets of $532,128. And the liabilities, that's of course the reserve, a liability of $462,836, and the total members' equity is $69,292. The revenues for the dues amount is again right on target. It comes in as according to budget. $113,775 has been received thus far, and an additional revenue of $46,317. Mainly transfer fees, $46,150 of transfer fees and $167 of interest, for a total revenue of $160,092 for the period. The expenditures are just well below budget. Administrative expenditures of $898, utilities $2,296, and the contracts of $781. Well below budget. The reserve accounts, the landscape reserve account added $10,575 for a total balance of $26,487. The insurance deductible fund, and this is great news, people have been taking care of things. There's no additional expenditures for that third quarter. So again, to date, $28,047 of expenditures, leaving a balance of $137,226. That's great news. The grounds cleanup added $11,250 for a balance of $26,238. The legal fund had no activity, no revenue expenditures, and continues the $25,000 balance in that fund. The professional services fund spent for that period, for the April 1 through December 31 period, of $49,768, for a total balance of $69,010. Contracts spent $28,560. That's mainly the amounts for the additional 2 fertilizations of palms that we're doing, for a total balance of $51,041. Community promotion expended $9,918 for a balance of $13,516. And registration fees brought in $46,050. And that's my report. Any questions?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to answer someone who wants to try and ask a question, so.
Okay.
Dell, if you would hang up and just call back in, I think that's the way Ryan was able to ask a question and voice his concern, and I would ask you to do the same thing, or anyone else who has any comments or questions. That takes us to the treasurer's report, excuse me, the president's report. The first thing I would like to do on behalf of the board and the community is express to Janice Kincaid and her husband our sympathy on the passing of your husband's sister earlier this week. So please accept our deepest sympathy and prayers for your family.
Thank you.
The other thing is that I would like to discuss is earlier this week, Vesta, on behalf of the emergency squad, and First Service, on behalf of the emergency squad, sent out a PSA that Mike Bardell had put together. I would like to thank Mike Bardell for putting that together. We were more than happy to direct First Service to send that out as a community announcement. I can only advise you folks that if you wonder what Matt has been doing lately, he has had to make approximately 500 phone calls with notifying people and doing contact tracing. So he has been very busy on the phone. And that leads me to, it seems that residents in the community, for some reason, are becoming lax, and we have to be ever mindful to wear our masks, to social distance, and attempt to keep the spread within the community. You don't know where you can pick it up. You don't know if you do pick it up. But we have had a number of incidences over the last month within the community, which puts a major burden upon Matt and his crew in contacting everybody. And we don't need to lose any residents to COVID, and we don't need to have residents that are sick. So I would only ask that we have guidelines, try and follow the guidelines, remember to wash your hands as you're told, social distance, wear masks, and if you are not comfortable, don't go to the Pottery Club, or don't go to pickleball, don't go to the South Club. I know some people have not gone to the South Club over the last couple of weeks, and I can understand it, but remember, the portico pickup is available. I would only ask that as we move forward over the next 2 months, we're going to have a very busy February and March. We do have we'll probably will be proposing, as mentioned by Keith, a new palm and oak tree trimming process and contract. And we will be extending the Section 2 and Section 4 landscape contracts and making those contracts consistent. So in 2022, all 4 contracts for all 4 sections will be expiring. So we have a number of things to do, plus we have the election for 5 Federation directors coming up during the month of February and March. So we're going to have a rather busy month. And last thing I would like to do is thank the members of the Federation for their understanding in us delaying last week's meeting or postponing it until this Friday. We hope it was not a major inconvenience to the residents. That ends my report. There is no unfinished business. There is no new business. Dell, were you able to get back in? Because I think I can hear you coughing.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. And if you said you had a question you wanted to ask, so go right ahead.
I guess this is to Alan. On his report, thank you for that. It was very detailed, and I guess to the board, correct me if I'm wrong, but the survey that went out to the residents, did it go by, and I don't remember, that's why I'm asking, did it go by email or U.S. Postal?
It went by email.
Okay, and I spoke to Jack about this recently, that we have to remember our residents, and I think that there are plenty that don't have a computer or do not know how to use a computer, and you might have gotten a higher number of residents in responding to the survey if it had gone out by U.S. Postal Mail.
Well, that's true, however.
And, those numbers would have been. Go ahead.
If you're done, I was just going to respond. In looking at statistics, and I'm not a statistician, and I don't know a whole lot about statistics, although in looking at some of that, for a representative sample, actually even 100 responses gives some statistical validity to the responses. Over 1,000, that's what we got, 1,203 responses is by far a very, very great statistical valid representation of the community. And that's all we're looking for. I mean, we don't have to, we wanted to know a representation of what the community felt. And I think that the response we got, even though it didn't go out to every single resident, and I don't know how many we have. We have 8,000, maybe 9,000 people living here in all of our, 5,600 plus homes. But we just wanted to have an indication of what the feeling was. And I think the survey, having 1,200 responses, is a valid representation of the community.
Quickly,
And the other
It
thing.
was quick, it was more
Okay.
rapid.
All right,
The other thing to remember is that the survey was
Dan,
on
you're
the
gonna have to
computer.
get up and walk over to the phone because people are complaining they can't hear you.
The other thing to remember is that the survey was on a computer, so if you didn't know how to use a computer or didn't have one, you wouldn't be able to take the survey anyhow, whether you got a mail notification that was there or not, observation.
Does that answer your question, Dal?
it did. Thank you, Dan, and thank you, Alan.
Okay. Is there any other questions regarding the survey or Alan's report? Because there is one other thing before I open the floor both to open forum and to good and welfare that I want to mention. At the end of December, the master did file a lawsuit against First Service and included the Federation within the lawsuit, which is costing the Federation not only for our legal counsel, but is costing the Federation additional expenses for the defense of that lawsuit. If anybody would like to review or see that lawsuit, at the request of our legal counsel, the Federation's legal counsel, that lawsuit is now on kpscc.com under the Federation. You can go in and review the lawsuit, and I believe it is count 6 that is including the Federation in that lawsuit. We have spoken to the master as to why they felt that lawsuit needed to include the Federation. We have not gotten an answer back, but it is a part of a claim under our D&O policy that has caused havoc with our D&O policy, just to let you know. But we will be vigorously defending the Federation, both with our own corporate counsel and with the Travelers Council. But if you're interested in that lawsuit and want to read in that lawsuit, it was placed on the Federation website, so you'll be able to review it and read it. Alan, do you have a comment?
I do. I think it's important to add too that in past discussions, because the Federation and Master have talked about the issues involved in their lawsuit, and on more than one occasion after discussion, they said they would remove the Federation from the lawsuit. But obviously they didn't, because it's filed. And Noreen's early question about who's paying for all this, folks, we, the residents, are both paying to sue ourselves and to defend ourselves. So all this, the lawyers are getting rich and we're all paying for it.
Absolutely.
So that ends my comments as the President's report. I just wanted to let you know, if you're interested in it, you go out and read the lawsuit. It was placed on the website, and the attorney is writing a email that will be blasted to all the residents that will reference that the lawsuit can be viewed on the kpscc.com website under the Federation, and I validated that's where Mabel has placed it, correct? So, are there any comments? And because we have no new business or old business, I'm going to combine open forum and good and welfare and give the residents an opportunity to discuss, ask questions, make comments regarding anything that they would like to. Hearing no comments, Janice, you have the proxies. Can I have a motion to adjourn then?
I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
And you have the proxy, so I would assume that it would pass.
Yes.
So it is 10:35. For those of you on the phone, if you want to get tested, you still have enough time to get to the hospital. It's open till noon for your testing, and we will keep you appraised on the vaccine as soon as we hear anything. And from the emergency squad's perspective, First Services perspective, and Vesta's perspective, all which are working to try and get a vaccine into Kings Point, please don't call them and ask when we're going to get a vaccine. They will let you know as they hear anything from the county or the state in respect to getting the vaccine done. Let the calls that we need to answer be answered. I know that Mike Bardell, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, is a little frustrated because the emergency squad is getting so many calls asking about the vaccine, as is Matt, as is First Service. We don't know any more than the county is willing to share with us.
As is association presidents from their.
Yeah, and, you know, let your residents know, we will give you the news as soon as we find out any information, and we are working diligently, and I can tell you that First Service contacted us, the Federation Board, and has contacted Vesta, that they are working at the state level to try and get the vaccine for Kings Point and the Sun City community. So you have a lot of people working. I know that the emergency squad and Mike Bardell are working very hard, as is Matt. And please ask your residents, don't call. You're not going to get any more information by calling. We don't control, and when I say we, I'm speaking of the community. The emergency squad, First Service, and Vesta do not control when the vaccine is going to be available, how much they're going to have available, or where they're going to distribute it at. So I'm only asking for your patience. And thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon.